Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala nabiyyina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. Amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear brothers and sisters, today we reflect upon one of the most profound moments in the history of humankind, the first revelation of the glorious Quran. Have you ever wondered what happened the moment Allah's final message to humanity began? Imagine being alone in a dark cave when suddenly a powerful voice calls out, "Read." The words that changed the course of history forever were revealed in a moment of solitude. What were those words and why did they hold such power? In this session today, we will see the powerful story behind the first revelation of the glorious Quran, where it happened, what it means, and how it transformed the world. Now, we explore the remarkable wisdom behind these first few words revealed to the heart of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So, to fully appreciate the significance of the first revelation, we need to understand the state of the world at the time. Let's have a look at Arabia, from where the mission of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was supposed to begin. Over 1400 years ago, it was a society engulfed in ignorance, idol worship, and social injustices. The values of compassion, justice, and knowledge were all but forgotten. They used to worship trees, idols, stones, stars, angels, and jinns, even though the concept of one God was there, but they used to regard him as the greatest of gods. But this belief had become so faint that they continued worshipping the smaller gods. Idolatry had taken its roots in their hearts. They were so fond of idol worship that if they found a beautiful stone, they would start worshipping it. If they didn't get anything, they would make a mound of clay, sprinkle goat milk over it, and an idol was ready for the worship. And infightings were also common. The tribal issues used to result into wars among tribes that used to last for generations. No other nation could beat them in gambling and consuming liquor. They used to bury their daughters alive, and the whole world was in the darkness. So in such an environment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose a man of excellent character named Muhammad ibn Abdullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The polytheistic people of Makkah themselves used to bear witness to the Prophet's noble character. Among the people of Makkah, the Prophet ﷺ was known as Al-Amin, the trustworthy, and As-Sadiq, the truthful. The Prophet ﷺ was deeply disturbed by the moral and spiritual decline around him. So seeking solitude and answers, he used to spend hours worshipping in the cave, that is the Cave of Hira, which is located on the Mount Nur, Jabal an-Nur, at a distance of 3 miles from Mecca. Prophet ﷺ used to take in some eatables with him. When he ran out of eatables, he used to come back to his house for provisions, or his beloved wife, our mother, Hazrat Khadija radiallahu anha, used to fetch eatables for the Prophet ﷺ. One day, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was busy in worshipping Allah as usual in the cave. In the month of Ramadan, that an extraordinary event occurred. So, Ramadan is the blessed month in which the glorious Quran was revealed. At the age of 40, while focusing in the silence of the cave of Hira, the angel Gabriel or Jibreel alayhi salam appeared before Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. Angel Jibreel alayhi salam has the most elevated place among the angels, and he has been bringing Allah's messages to the prophets. The angel Jibreel alayhi salam commanded the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, "Iqra," read. Confused and overwhelmed, the Prophet ﷺ responded, "I am not the one who reads." Hearing this, Jibreel alayhi salam started pressing the Prophet, so much so that he got tired. Then he loosened his grip and again said to the Prophet ﷺ, "Iqra," read. The event was repeated twice more, and each time Prophet Muhammad ﷺ gave the same response. But finally, the angel Jibreel alayhi salam recited the first verses of the glorious Quran before the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam.
اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق خلق الإنسان من علق اقرأ وربك الأكرم الذي علم بالقلم علم الإنسان ما لم يعلم.
Which means, read in the name of your Lord, who created man from a clinging substance. Read, and your Lord is the most generous, who taught by the pen, taught man that which he knew not. So this was the first revelation of the Quran. The Prophet ﷺ was shaken by this encounter with the angel from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He returned home trembling and narrated the whole incident to his beloved wife, Khadija radiallahu anha. She comforted the Prophet, reassured him of his noble character, that you take care of your relatives, load yourself with the burden of others, help destitutes and needy and feed them, you suffer on behalf of others for the sake of justice. Then she took the Prophet ﷺ to her cousin named Waraqa ibn Nawfal, who was an elderly Christian priest, and he used to recite the Torah, the Old Testament. Khadija radiallahu anha narrated to him the whole incident of the Cave of Hira, and after hearing all these, he said that this is the same angel who brought the revelation to Prophet Musa alayhi salam. He, after knowing whole incident of the cave, he confirmed that this was indeed a divine revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. My brothers and sisters, the first revelation is not just a historical event, it holds immense lessons for us. The opening word, Iqra, meaning read, highlights the importance of knowledge in Islam. It emphasizes literacy, reflection, and seeking the truth. So, this is the actual foundation upon which our religion, Islam, is built. A faith that encourages the pursuit of knowledge for the betterment of oneself and also for the betterment of the society. Moreover, as we read the verses further, it draws our attention to the Creator and His power. Our Creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, says that خَلَقَ الْإِنسَانَ مِنْ عَلَقٍ, which means created man from a clinging substance. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala specifically mentioned man, that from what an humble state Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala began the creation of man and made him a complete human being. The word here is alaq, which is the plural of alaqa in Arabic, which means the clotted blood. So alaq generally refers to a clinging substance, congealed blood, or a leash-like structure. The term alaq appears in Surah Al Alaq, chapter 96, verse 2, that خَلَقَ الْإِنسَانَ مِنْ عَلَقٍ, God created man from a clinging substance. Then alaqa, on the other hand, refers specifically to a clot, a clinging entity. The word alaqa appears in Surah Al-Mu'minun, chapter 23, verse 14, ثُمَّ خَلَقْنَا النُّطْفَةَ عَلَقًا, then we made the sperm drop into a clinging clot. فَخَلَقْنَا الْعَلَقَةَ مُضْغَةً, then developed the clot into a fetus, a lump. فَخَلَقْنَا الْمُضْغَةَ عِظَامًا, then developed the lump into bones. فَكَسَوْنَا الْعِظَامَ لَحْمًا, then clothed the bones with flesh. ثُمَّ أَنْشَأْنَاهُ خَلْقًا آخَرَ, then we brought it into being as a new creation. فَتَبَارَكَ اللَّهُ أَحْسَنُ الْخَالِقِينَ, so blessed is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the best of creators. Alaq is broader and can be used as a collective term for multiple clots or a clinging substance in general. Alaqa is more specific, referring to a single entity in its early stage of development. If we see in the context of embryology in the Quran or the Quranic embryology, both terms beautifully describe the stages of human development. Alaq indicating the initial clinging state, and alaqa emphasizes its form and structure. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds us that He is the one who created us and provided us with the ability to learn and understand. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us humans as the noblest of all creatures. So this revelation is a reminder of our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and our duty to recognize His blessings. Brothers and sisters, let us reflect on the key lessons of this event. Number one is the importance of seeking knowledge. The very first command from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was to read. Education is something which is not only a right but also a responsibility, whether it's a knowledge of the Quran or the knowledge of the science or any other beneficial field. It is an act of worship if done with the right intention. There is a hadith, a beautiful hadith saying of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in which he says, "Talabul ilmi faridatun ala kulli Muslim," meaning it is an obligation on every Muslim to obtain knowledge. So obtain knowledge. Number two is the value of reflection and solitude. Like the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam sought solitude to connect with the Creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we too must act upon His sunnah, and we must take moments out of our busy lives to reflect, to pray, and to reconnect with our Creator. Number three is guidance comes with effort. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was chosen because of his pure heart and sincerity. Similarly, we must strive to purify our intentions and actions with sincerity to receive Allah's guidance. My brothers and sisters, the first revelation of the glorious Quran is a reminder of Allah's mercy and the beginning of a message that continues to guide us today. Let us renew our commitment to learning, understanding, and practicing Islam. Let us also encourage one another to live by the principles taught in the glorious Quran and the beautiful Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I want to end my talk with a dua, with a supplication that, O Allah, make us among those who learn and act upon knowledge. Grant us the wisdom to understand the glorious Quran and the strength to implement its teachings in our lives. Ameen, summa ameen, wa akhiru da'wana, and alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.